Before I made the decision to become a plumber, I used to work in a place called McDonald's. Now, you may have heard of that place. I joined when I was about 16 years old, and I was there for 5 or 6 years. And I started my career there at the very bottom of the pile. Let me just tell you how the McDonald's structure works, and this will all fit in and tie into what church should really look like. When you start McDonald's, you start as something which is called a crew member. You are the bottom of the pile. You are the person who changes all the bins, who sweeps all the floors, and who takes all the flack, can I say. When you've progressed beyond crew member, you become a 1-star, then 2-star, then 3-star, 4-star, then finally you reach the grand achievement of being a 5-star crew member. That is, you are trained in all aspects of cooking and serving and cleaning. If you want to go beyond that still, you can become what's called a training squad. Now, when you're a training squad, that means you're qualified to train the crew members. If you want to go above that again, you can become a floor manager. That means you're responsible for an area like the burger section, the fry section, or the service section. If you want to go up further again, you become a shift manager. That means when senior management isn't there, you become responsible for the store, locking up, cashing up, etc. Above that again is called the second assistant to the general manager. Then there's a couple of first assistants to general manager. Then there's the general manager, and then there's the business manager. I worked my way up through my time there to being a trainee business manager, so I was number 2 within the store. And when I reached that position within McDonald's, I noticed everybody kind of did what I said, and there was a lot of power, so I thought, a lot of authority. When I spoke, it was done. When you walked into the room or to the business, people really stopped and listened and took note of you. There was much use of fear and control within the McDonald's system. The higher you get, the more you have power to yield to cause people to do what you want them to do. So I have seen the McDonald's structure. I've been in business with retail for 6-7 years in different places, and I suddenly realized when I came into the kingdom of God how much the church is also like that. Now, I'm absolutely not church bashing. I believe in the ecclesia and the gathering of the ecclesia, even traditional church. But I just want you to know that the McDonald's model of the structure of management has absolutely nothing to do with the church and with church culture. You see, in McDonald's, the bee's knees, the big kahuna, the big guy was the business manager. And when he walked in, everybody felt the presence of authority and power. When you're a senior pastor within the church, God kind of spins that on its head. The senior pastor becomes the servant of all. You see, when you put a senior pastor, let's say we're just going to put them in a crucible for a minute and really turn up the heat and put the lid on. And when everything's burned away from the senior pastor, the title of pastor, the preaching 3 or 4 times a week, the deacons meetings, the elders meetings, everything that goes with senior pastor, when that's all burned away with the heat of this crucible, and you take the lid off and you have a look in, what's left is nothing but a servant. You see, in the kingdom, the greatest of them all is the servant of them all. And we as leaders need to understand that it's actually about serving. It's actually about making yourself low and lower still. It's actually having the heart to train others above and beyond yourself. It's wanting to see people succeed you in every single aspect of life. Ministry is not about the minister. It's about the message. It's about Jesus. And when we have a person who is very managerial in their heart, they're orphan in heart, they're really exercising in a kind of a McDonald's fashion within the church, then it has disastrous consequences, because managers give rise to managers, but fathers give rise to children. And we are called as leaders and as ministers of the gospel to lead people into sonship and into daughtership, is to see them fully released in their own gifting and in their own calling. It's actually to do yourself out of a job. It's not to secure your position and dig your heels in and protect that title. It's actually to make yourself of no reputation. It's actually to serve the church whom God desperately loves, to see bloom and blossom and to grow and supersede you. Ministry is really becoming the servant of all. Jesus himself modeled this so perfectly in his ministry. We see him time and time again, though he is the King of heaven, though he sits upon the highest throne in heaven, he made his home with the lowly and with the broken, with the prostitutes, with the tax collectors, and he served them. This King of glory became the servant king. He made himself nothing, and he even became obedient to death and the accusations of his enemies, because Jesus wanted to show us what true leadership looked like. There is coming a great shaking to the United Kingdom. The dry, dead religious structure built by men is actually dying, and it's losing power, it's losing grip. And it's fading away, whilst the true ecclesia of God, the family of God, the radical company of Jesus, lovers of people and lovers of men, are actually growing and becoming more numerous. The church, the ecclesia, is coming into the revelation of that actually church is about family. It's about community. It's about relationships. It's about Jesus. It's about serving one another and preferring one another. Gone are the days of the one-man band, where one person did it all, where one person hogged the stage. Those days are over. Those days are finished. We've come into a time now where it's no longer a one-man band, a one-man ministry. It's a body ministry. Everybody gets a chance to play. Everybody gets to contribute. Everybody gets to work with this great commission which Jesus has given us. So McDonald's, the structure of McDonald's versus the structure of church, could not be further apart. The senior pastor, if you want to be a senior pastor, the senior leader within the church, then you are to become the servant of all. It doesn't mean that you don't take responsibility. It doesn't mean you don't set vision. It doesn't mean you don't lead. But it means when everything else is stripped away from you, the only thing found is a humble servant, somebody who is a desperate lover of God, somebody who is a desperate lover of man. And that is whom a senior pastor really is. If you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, then we need to be the absolute least. God bless.